Peace is not the absence of fear. Life asked me, will I now move, now that I am free? Yes, I will move on. My mind, my body, my spirit, and my environment have to move on. My spirit has moved on, but my mind is struggling to move where my spirit is. And that's because the environment is still the same. My mind is working based on what it sees through my body. My environment has to change so that my body, my mind, and my spirit are in the same page. If I don't change my environment, it's definitely going to be hard for my spirit to try to move forward. I would say obedience is following and trusting the system that I created. Even after letting go, if I stay in the same environment, my body will not know the difference because it's the same environment. So I have to change the environment so that my body also can see that things have changed. Otherwise, my body will just think that nothing has changed, which will affect my mind and my thinking, which will also affect my spirit. Letting go and letting God, it's to let go, but I also have to put in the work on my mind, on my body, on my spirit, and also on my environment as well. Obedience is to make sure that my mind, my body, my environment, and my spirit are all in the same page, are all in one accord, or they're all playing the same tune. That's when the real change will happen. Without changing environment, I notice self-doubt starts to kick in, even though I have let go and let God. Where I am, movement is all I have. I have to move forward. Obviously, I have to change my environment. But I also have to move. I have to move forward. I have to make movements. If I don't make any movements, I stand still. And if I stand still, no progression. When you start a new season, at the stage where you are in between release and response, or response and release, it can be very tough. Sometimes it can be very tough up to the point where you're just like, let me just go back to what I'm used to. Help me. But this is why I created this system. And this is the time where I also need to trust the system and follow the system and believe in the system, believe in the process. You have to be courageous and you have to find discipline and consistency, even though it can be very, very hard. But that's where progress is made. You have to train your body to move. You can have a strong mind, you can have a strong spirit, you can have a strong environment. Those three factors, I've noticed that if I work on those three parts, then my body will just move forward. My body is subjective, so it will just move based on the actions that I put within those three elements or three variables. I have to make sure my mind is straight. I have to make sure my environment is straight. And also need to make sure that my spirit is straight. By doing these things, I notice I'm creating a habit for my body to start thinking things are moving forward. This is how things are right now. To say, let go, let God, it's so easy. I noticed I hesitated on letting go because it's easy to say it, but to walk it is something else. This week, I created 2 web applications. One for my business We had an official launch this week for the business. And I also had another idea as well that has been lingering around, and I thought, let me give it a go with this new system. This is an idea that has been floating around from last season. I've learned how to code in a specific way, and I've pushed myself to do it this way so that I can be able to learn more about the languages that I'm using. But in this day and age, AI is moving fast. If you don't adapt to it, things can move very quickly. This week, trusting the process that I created, I attempted to push the system and try to work on the Fast app. I wasn't actually working on 2 apps this week. I was just going to work on the 1 app, but I ended up creating 2 web applications. I managed to work with AI agents to work on the Fast app for the business from requirements to delivery, and it went so quick, which gave me another chance for me to be able to work on the second web app, again from requirements to delivery. It's like I now have a team of 3, myself and the 2 AI agents. I include myself as the architect, and then I have 1 AI as the product manager, and then I have the other AI agent as the developer. That agent is a front end and a back end developer. Like I say, the team of 3. It's a hard system because with the wrong guide, this team can create a mess without being guided. They can go ahead and just create their own things. But if I'm being honest, I wish I did it earlier. I wish I did it when I started. But you learn and you live and you learn. I had to let go of the way I was working before. This has been a very productive week for me as a developer. There was peace and calm throughout the whole process. The creativity that came out of that reminded me that if I didn't let go, what I created in 1 week, the scope was big, working on front end and back end, integrating the systems, testing the systems, deploying the system, all done within hours. At first, I was going to do what I normally do: plan, develop, reiterate, test, deploy. But this time around, I did try my best to just step back, let go, and just trust the process. I did realize that obedience is important, no matter how it is, especially to yourself, especially within the boundaries that you put for yourself. I saw the peace that came with trusting the process of discipline. It's easy to fall back to what you're used to because it's comfortable. And I find myself doing that all the time. But this is a journey. And it's a hard journey because I'm the subject and I have to keep on testing until I find that sweet spot for myself. Peace is not the absence of fear. It's the decision to move anyway. It's just go ahead with it. This week, I've been focusing on Genesis 15 to 16. When God says, let go and let go, you can see that Abraham was trying to manipulate the outcome, but he only needs to trust. And then Genesis 16, by taking Hagar into plan, they stepped back into bondage of a different kind. And I feel like it's very deep because if I relate it to this week, will I walk in faith or will I reach back to control what God has already planned? Abraham's test wasn't to believe God's word, but it was more to let that belief control his next movements. God frees us emotionally, mentally, and spiritually. When the promise seems delayed, we reach back to control, validation, shortcuts, and even going back to old habits. I find myself doing that. It's not just Abraham. But last week we let go and we let God. I am free. But will I move in trust, or will I rebuild what has been undone? Where in your week are you waiting for assurance when life is asking you to move? Join me on next week's episode as we continue this season of Build and Broadcast, becoming everything I am. Until next week again. Becoming everything I am.